Hi, welcome to Jovie's home. I post new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Please make sure you click that subscribe button and the notification bell if you'd like to be notified. And if you enjoy watching this video, give it a thumbs up. Now, today I would like to share with you 14 ways that I experienced culture shock when I moved to the Netherlands. If that sounds good to you, then why don't you come on in, kick off your shoes, and stay a while. I'm really glad you're here. All right, you guys, so I have 14 ways that I experienced culture shock that I'm going to share with you. These are not in any particular order. They're just like, I was inspired in the moment to write them down, and I did. So I'm going to be sharing them in the moment that they occurred to me. If you are not Dutch, so if you are an expat or you've moved here or you lived here for a while and then left, and if you experienced any of these, please let me know in the comments. And if you're Dutch and this sounds weird, like also please share, let me know, let me understand a little bit about why these things are the way they are, because I must admit, like, you guys telling me certain things in other videos with comments, you have made me feel more comfortable here because now I understand a bit of the background. So thank you, Dutch people, for educating me, and also I'm sure all the other newcomers or foreigners that are reading the comments, you help them too. So let's get into it. The first one I don't think it's going to come as a shock to anyone. I'm certain that lots of other people have commented on this before, and that is the directness of Dutch people. Not just the directness, but I interpreted the directness as not being friendly. Now I've lived here for a long time, and I know now that that is not the case. In fact, I mean, if you're new to my channel, you should know I love the Netherlands. Like, I am a huge supporter of the Netherlands, but that doesn't mean that I can't talk about things that pain that I went through or things that shocked me or hurtful things. So definitely the Dutch directness, I interpreted that as rudeness. Sometimes I still do, which will be the next point here that I make. But overall, the Dutch are very straightforward. They tell you what they think in all situations. Like, I feel like that is definitely, they don't hold back, and there are a lot of great things about that. But for a foreigner or an expat or somebody coming from a country where there's a lot of emphasis on like being very pleasant and being very friendly and, you know, saying, hi, how are you? How was your day today? I miss that. And not having that felt like rudeness to me. So yeah, that was definitely a culture shock that I had to go through. And now I don't feel it so much anymore. There are still times that I'll be like, really? But for the most part, it's not like a daily thing anymore that I'm thinking, oh my gosh. All right, you guys, number 2 on my list is kind of related to number 1. But it is people who I don't know just randomly and openly commenting about my money and how I spend it. A little story about this is a few years ago when my husband and I, when we bought our first house, we decided that we wanted to celebrate Christmas in like the way that we did when we were kids, meaning we wanted to have a big Christmas tree. I mean, nothing huge, but like something more than the 25 centimeter one that we had before, but we wanted a Christmas tree and just some decorations on it. And so we went to Hornbach and we ended up buying this tree and then the decorations. Because we bought a pre-lit artificial Christmas tree, it was a bit more expensive, which at that time for us was something that we could afford. I mean, we were a childless couple, both of us working full-time jobs, and we had that, and we wanted to spend it. Doesn't matter. You know what? Why am I even explaining it here? I feel weird about it. But basically, when we were checking out, the lady who was scanning our items was like, oh, you're having an expensive day today, spending so much money. And I just thought, okay, this makes me very uncomfortable. Like, it just makes me feel so strange to have somebody commenting like that on how I'm spending money in their shop, you know, especially as I'm paying for it to you. Like, it's just weird. Weird. It is just weird for me where there's comments about money. It's weird. Where I come from, that is like a personal thing. That is something not secret. Like, I'm not trying to like not like give you guys an image of something that is or isn't, but it's personal. And so it's weird for me, the very open communication about how people think that we are or are not spending, and their opinions about our choices. So that is a culture shock for me. All right. Next up, number 3, the third way that I experienced culture shock coming from the States to the Netherlands is in the United States, you are taught from a very early age that you should stand out, that you should do, you know, you should, in a room, you should find a way to stand out, whether it's by wearing very brightly colored clothes, which, I mean, look, even today, this was an accident, but, you know, wearing brightly colored clothes, or raising your hand and speaking up, or, you know, whatever it is, like, you are encouraged to be different than everyone else. Whereas in the Netherlands, I think it's quite the opposite. Like, and I think you guys have an expression even for it, like the doe normaal, or be normal, meaning be like everyone else. You know, shop in the same shops as everyone else, decorate your home similar to everyone else, dress in a way that is not going to attract attention to you. And of course, there are exceptions to all of these things that I'm saying. This is just very general. I mean, that's, you know, these kind of videos have to be general, but yeah, so these kind of things like really stood out to me, and I felt very weird. Like, I had to tone down or change who I was to fit in. Well, whether I did or didn't, I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm a little bit older now than I was back then. And I don't know if it's, you know, I'm sure it's all like contributing together. But as you see, I still wear my standout clothes, and I still do my nails, and I still do all the things that I, you know, did before, maybe in a little bit of a less way. But yeah, blending in versus standing out was a culture shock for me. Next up is, it's funny, probably most of you are not going to be able to relate to this at all, but maybe if you are watching this because you are moving to the Netherlands and you are coming from the States or Canada or wherever you're coming from, maybe this applies to you. I am not tall. In the Netherlands, people are generally much taller. I am not tall, and in the States, I would shop at stores with petite sizes, like especially for bottoms, like for pants, not British pants, trousers, like trousered bottoms, you know, things like that, pants that fit me, without having to have them tailored or, you know, shortened. I cannot do that in the Netherlands. I have not found a shop that sells petite sizes. I know that H&M has, sometimes they have for jeans with the 30 centimeter inseam length, but not all the time. It's very difficult for me to find something with that inseam. If you are tall, you are going to have a great time in the Netherlands because things like that will fit you. There's lots of choice for tall people, but for short people, I struggle. I struggle to this day with shopping for clothes here, and most of the time I don't. I will save up my money and go on a spree when I'm in the States, or even in France, I have an easier time. My aunt lives in France and I visit her quite often. So I shop in those countries more for bottoms because they fit me. So it was shocking to me that things like that don't exist, but that they're just very hard to come by. So yeah. The next culture shock I want to talk about is, it's not bad and it's not good. Like, I'm not judging or saying one is better than the other. It is just what I was used to and what I experienced. So please just know that in the comment section. Don't get angry with me. I'm not saying one is better or the other. I was very surprised to see women in professional settings being very casually dressed and not with their hair and makeup done. Where I come from in the States, generally when you're going to work, you would have some, you would do your hair the way that I've done it here, like blow dried it. You wouldn't just wash it and leave it down. Mostly you would wear some kind of makeup, and then you would wear like, business casual, or even business. I was very surprised that here, even in high level positions or positions of power or positions across the board, it's not just limited to one level. Women come to work without makeup, completely barefaced, and that's normal and that's okay. Or, I was commuting from The Hague to Amsterdam by train for a job, and I would see women in the train with just washed hair, and it would just letting it air dry. Nothing like fancy in terms of getting dressed. I worked at the World Trade Center in Amsterdam in like a pretty posh company, and we definitely were not business casual. It was business was what we were dressed in, and I was surprised that when we would have job interviews for people, they would come in jeans. That was a culture shock for me. You would not experience that in the States. In the States, we have an expression, dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. And so generally everybody is trying a little bit harder to put across like a more put together image. Again, not saying one is the right way or the wrong way. It was just something that I needed to get accustomed to. The next thing that I had to experience culture shock for was the lack of one-stop shops. If you've maybe seen my where to shop in the Netherlands video, I did mention it there that I struggled when I first moved here with not having just like one shop where I could get everything. If you know Target, Walmart, these kind of stores where no matter what you need for your house, for yourself, like you can get clothes and groceries in the same place. You can get, like you can go to one store and do all your shopping for the week and get everything that you need just at one place. And you can't do that in the Netherlands. I don't know of a shop like that. So if there is one, can you let me know in the comments? I would love to shop there. But in general, you would need to go from shop to shop to shop. It's okay because if you're in one shop, most likely there's another shop right next door. That's the way that, the city centers are structured, or like in your neighborhood, you'll have like, you don't just have like one random store in the middle of nowhere generally. So yeah, so the lack of like a one-stop shop was a surprise and a challenge for me to get used to. But yeah, I don't mind it now. Like I like supporting local businesses, and I like supporting small shops. That's all fine, but it was like, it was a lot to learn. It was like a curve, like a steep learning curve when I first moved here. So yeah. Okay, the next one, and I guess this could be said for any country, especially if you don't understand the language, but I was very surprised at how loud Dutch people generally speak to each other, especially in a place like a tram or a train or a bus. I could be sitting, let's say, at the front of the bus, and I will very clearly hear the conversation that the people at the back of the bus are having. Not an argument, but just like a regular conversation. And this happens on a regular basis. So I'm starting to think maybe it's just a cultural thing, or something that it's just something that I do notice. So people, I don't know, is it that you want everyone on the bus to hear what you're saying, or is it just maybe my ears are hearing Dutch, and so I'm paying more attention? But I just feel like the tone of the volume is just loud. Like I just think that's very loud. Please, can you guys comment if you experience the same, or if it's just me? Maybe I'm my ears are sensitive. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but maybe it's not. I don't know. You guys let me know. And this lady turned around and she goes, "Don't you see I'm busy?" And we're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I really apologize to you that I came to your place of business. and bothered you. Like, it was just shocking.